morning, everyone, and welcome to our morning session of Coffee Talk. Richard, how are you doing?
I'm doing great this morning, Randy. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I've got my Cobra Kai cup going strong here, and
Awesome.
we're off to the races. We've got two special guests with us this morning. They are band directors at Prairie Meridian Middle School on the south side of Indianapolis. Chris Meyer and Melissa Main. Say hi to everybody this morning.
Hello.
Morning, guys.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you went to college, where you went to high school, all the gritty details. We'll start with Melissa.
Sure. So I went to high school at Rockford High School back in like the Grand Rapids, Michigan area. And my program did a lot with Bands of America more towards the middle of my experience while I was there. So I started to get used to the like national platform of performing there. And I was introduced to Indianapolis through those experiences. I went to Michigan State University. My major instrument is clarinet, so I'm a woodwind person. And I just got really lucky that I had some connections down here in Indianapolis and found myself here, which is crazy, being in high school, visiting someplace, and then, you know, coming back and kind of finding home in that experience.
That's awesome. And Chris?
I'm a 2001 Castle High School graduate, the Tom Dean Glen Northern era. So played horn. I went to college at Indiana State University, and then I also did master's work at Indiana University Southeast. So, and taught at South Central Junior Senior High School. It's kind of small school south of Corydon. I taught there for 10 years. Did a year at Wood Memorial, and then I've been here. This is my 5th year here. Melissa's 3rd year as well.
Awesome. Well, it's a very, very good district, and you guys have some pretty big shoes to fill in. Alan Slidham, he was there many, many years, but been hearing great things. And so thanks for being with us here this morning. We are going to be doing a webinar, our marching arts webinar that we do monthly next month, and we're going to focus on recruiting throughout the year. And I know from talking to you guys at Indiana Music Educators Convention back in January that you had done a presentation there about recruiting and kind of coming out of COVID and basically kind of rethinking how you approach things with your program. So we'd like you to share some of those things this morning. This is kind of a prequel to our session that we're going to be doing on our second Wednesday in March, which is going to bring on some special guests. But before we get to Melissa and Chris, Richard, who are those guests that we're going to be having at the webinar?
Chris Genowiak, who is director of bands at Ravenwood High School in Tennessee, Brentwood, Tennessee. And then we're also going to have Greta Pote and Chris Griffa, who both teach at Creekside Middle School in Carmel. And so they're going to give us some great insights on this as well. And I think we're also going to have the supervisor of schools from down there in the Brentwood
Mark
area.
Kinzer. Yep,
Mark Kinzer, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, from Williamson County. So we've got some great people lined up.
Awesome. Well, we'll fire it off here to Melissa and Chris, and just talk to us a little bit about what your presentation was about. And I think you might have some slides to share with us as well.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and share our screen.
So we presented in January. The main focus was how we made it through COVID, how we rebuilt the program, and really how that's really made us put everything on the table for what the program is and kind of the focus, and also how to really teach individual musicians because that was the only way to keep our program together. So we kind of found 4 different stages that our program went through. In May, or really in March of 2020, we found, we were like everyone else. It was the day before contest. We were getting ready. Alan Slidham was in giving us comments, and then Friday, everything's canceled. Mm-hmm. The kids are gone. I mean, just everything was over, and it ended up being, it ended up being a really long-term thing. So the first stage was really survival. How do we get through? How do we structure our virtual teaching? The second phase, triage, in that fall, was going through and just figuring out how to put, just to kind of figure out what we have and how do we teach in this new environment.
To cut in too, our district being in Marion County, we were on a hybrid format. So we were 2 days a week, students A through L saw us in person on Mondays and Thursdays, and then students last names M through Z saw us Tuesday, Friday, and then everyone was virtual Wednesday. So balancing the virtual instruction with the sparingly in-person time we had with our students was really difficult for us in the fall, and still integrating a lot of the technology teaching with the in-person with what little we had.
Mm-hmm. And then really just figuring out, how do you recruit? You know, we've tested generally about 675 students. How do you do that and get them to sign up for band amongst all this and all the precautions and everything? And then we went to next phase. Really, we started to stabilize. We started to kind of get a norm, starting to get students caught up. Not so much freaked out about being away or not having enough help, figuring out how to give them resources. And then really this fall and winter, we really saw the recovery point where now we're finding a new norm, and everything starting to come back, and maybe the ensembles are all running normal, but maybe just a grade behind, but really starting to figure out how to reassemble our program.
So guys, what is different about recruiting now than was back then? And what are some things that maybe you learned through COVID that you've managed to hold on to from a recruiting process?
So in the past, we used to recruit in the spring, and we would start first with a recruitment concert with our top band, top orchestra, and top choir performing for our 5th grade incoming 6th grade students. And with COVID putting that on pause, we had no real way to connect with those incoming 6th graders, and having to shift our spring model where we brought in our friends from Pages Music, who really helped test that large number of students. And having to shift it to the fall and really pare down who we had available to test just with all the precautions. So in that fall model, we started to look less at just trying to get kids put through the process of testing, and it was a lot more individualized. We took a lot greater care and concern for truly finding an instrument or music class, whether it was choir, orchestra too, that was the best fit for that student. And we utilized tools like the Edwin Gordon Timbre test, if you've ever heard of that before. It was really interesting to see the results, because a lot of research behind that states that if a student likes the timbre or the sound that they're starting with, that they're probably, the retention rate's going to be higher because they like the sound of that instrument. And we noticed that a lot. We had a lot of kids hanging on with us just because they were truly fit to an instrument that physically worked for them, that they liked the sound of, and there was greater buy-in that way. And we also, through having to meet with students just kind of sparingly, oh no, my slide isn't showing. We created a virtual music classroom. Let me see if I can pull it up. There it is. Yeah. So we created a virtual music classroom so that students, when they were virtual at home and we hadn't met them yet for fitting, we created several pages on our website that featured quality recordings of all of our instrument offerings. We also had, you would be a great fit for this instrument if XYZ. And
even highlighting some of the staff, like some of our guest staff that come in like as freelance musicians or professionals, you know, like here's our flute player, Jenna Page. So we featured a lot of those. And we also showed really a good variety too of examples and of diverse backgrounds. Because our school has refugees and immigrants from different countries. So we want to really give a big snapshot of what they could do and see themselves in it.
That is just amazing, guys. I got a quick question for you, if you don't mind. Parents, how did the parents react to all of this? And did you get support mainly from them? Did you get some pushback? Just kind of interested in finding out how the parent response was to all this.
We had very supportive parents throughout all of this, and truthfully, with our demographic, we were not sure what our incoming numbers would look like. And we know lots of people who had suffered really from this pandemic with being able to recruit, but our incoming 6th grade numbers were very, very close to what a regular year would look like for us.
Cool.
Which we were very surprised by. And we also were shocked that our rentals really, you know, we still had a lot of families buy into renting instruments and didn't really have a lot of issues with the financial aspect of that, which we were concerned about.
I think we found a lot of parents wanted their kids to be involved, being so limited virtually with a lot of the classes we had, and like they only went to school till noon. So I think that interest to do something tangible like a performing arts or organization really got people interested. And yeah, we really see no major loss in involvement.
So here's probably my toughest question. If I think what you guys have done is absolutely fantastic, and if people wanted help or wanted to contact you, would you guys be cool with that? I mean, would you guys be willing to take some emails or some calls from other directors that possibly needed some guidance on this? Because I know they'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also speaking with like collegiate chapters or anybody too that are interested in having us come talk, because I think what we found in rethinking of your philosophy and some of the can you go back to like the phases and some of the resources that we developed during it are really good for anyone coming into a new program or first year teachers. Like this is one of the kind of our big aha moments, breaking into phases, how to break down practicing so kids at home can go, oh, I'm overwhelmed, but oh no, just do phase 1, notes and rhythms, 3/4 tempo, work that up, and then come back to me and we'll do dynamics. And now we implement that regularly. Like, hey, you guys have 2 weeks to learn all the notes and rhythms in this piece because we need to move on. So.
And this is actually a snapshot of something that's on our agenda currently right now in our classes, as we're getting ready to take our music to contest here soon on March 12th. You know, breaking down kind of with the calendar even where they should be at in their music preparation on their own, and to hold us accountable in class too, to make sure that we are taking our time learning our stuff thoroughly, and then also leaving enough time at the end to get to the finer qualities like intonation and blend and balance and things like that.
But absolutely, that's your question. We'd love to anyone to reach out to us. We'll share our contact info.
Well, I wish I had this chart that's in front of us right now back when I was teaching. Randy, I don't know about you, but my bands would have been a whole lot better. So
absolutely.
This is pretty cool.
Well, and this is just a perfect example of, you know, educators that we hear so much about the educator being victimized. COVID did this, COVID did that. Politicians did that, they did this. And this is a perfect example of educators that are finding solutions and being creative thinkers. And one of the things that strikes me is that we're meeting the students where they are. You know, we understand that we couldn't connect with them in this particular way that we normally are used to. And so we're choosing a different way. We're being creative about how that works. We're restructuring our curriculum. And those are the folks that are always going to come through these crises. You know, there's an opportunity in every crisis, as we've heard Tim Lutzenheiser say before. And you guys, you know, got an A+ for really developing all of this for your students. And really, you know, you got to catch up, and you're still in the process of that, but at least you provided a structure for the families and really didn't miss a whole lot from a standpoint of recruitment. And, you know, that, Richard, I know you and I are both really, you know, passionate about the social emotional learning. And it sounds to me like that was at the forefront of what you guys decided to do here to meet your families and figure out a way to get access to music. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this, guys. This is just such great information, and you guys just being willing to share all this with other educators is going to be major, I think, down the road. So thanks for doing that presentation at IMEA, and so excited for you to be with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if you know, if you want to reach out to Richard and I, we can connect you with Chris and Melissa, and you guys can certainly have an opportunity. Our listeners out there can certainly have an opportunity to interact with them. We all grow stronger when we learn from each other. So thanks again, Melissa and Chris, for joining us this morning on Coffee Talk. And we'll see you again next week on another Coffee Talk. Take care.
Take care, everybody.